Hey everyone, it is Kazlo, and welcome back to my channel. Since I completed all the role quests before 6.1 launched, I was able to jump in and do the Capstone Role Quest in Garlemald. It kind of sucks though because it's not the best role quest. It has nothing. None of the flair that the Shadowbringers Capstone quest had, which had these huge lore implications regarding the Warriors of Light on the first, or I guess the Warriors of Darkness as we knew them. But I know a lot of people still want to see this role quest without having to level all the different roles. So I'm going to put it up here. There's going to be minimal editing, just jumping from cutscene to cutscene to cutscene. So it's going to be real simple cuts that way. But here it is if you haven't got to see the Garlemald role quest. Well, if it isn't Caslo, an all-around good egg and champion of, well, the whole world, I suppose. World travels fast, my friend. We've heard all about your exploits defeating the blasphemies that plague the good people of Eorzea and Doma. Sadly, there are other fell beasts that yet want for slaying. But fear not, our efforts to bring them low proceed apace. We've been naught but glad tidings from our allies. In fact, we recently received word from the resistance forces in Bostia that blasphemy was slain, thanks in no small part to Lord Hian's timely assistance. Perhaps the most surprising report came from Werland. Soldiers led by the infamous Black Wolf fought alongside Alamegan troops. Yet another hard-earned victory. Reports from Garlemald, however, just another blasphemy threat lurks in the snows. We received a petition for assistance. Strange, don't you think? When the effects of the final days began to spread in earnest, we encountered a great many monsters in Garlemald. Never a blasphemy. Make matters worse, see the Garleans who chose to remain and rebuild have been transforming into yet more hideous creatures. From what I understand, it was you and your comrades who brought an end to the source of the final days. Is that right? Even so, it would appear the effects will linger a while longer. Until this malevolent influence on Akasha subsides. I dare say this won't be the last time we hear of such sightings. As for the blasphemy, we have reason to believe it is a great deal stronger than any we have faced thus far. Your strength and experience would prove quite valuable. You're willing to help, of course. Of course I'll help. Truly, contacts in Charlie and will be thrilled to hear it. Though they did not explicitly request your presence, it was clear from the first that they were hoping for. But if I may be frank, I was not expecting Charlie, and of all places, to be so concerned with the present state of Garlemald, what with their strict policies of non-intervention. Perhaps we'll find out the reason before this is all over. That's an inquiry for another time. I'll not keep you any longer. Once you arrive in Garlemald, I should think the intelligence officer stationed there will be more than happy to apprise you of the situation. To Broken Glass. The Caslo? It's an honor to have you with us, sir. Presume you've come to assist in our hunt for the blasphemy. Maxima and Lucia will be pleased to hear it. You would come this way. It's good to see you, Castle. I wish it was under more fortuitous circumstances. We were reluctant to call upon you. Knowing you but recently returned from the far reaches of the heavens, we are no less glad for your aid. Now then, I believe it best if the man who discovered this blasphemy explain the situation. Is it Nero? Did Nero discover it? No, it's Fortuno. Ah, Kes, good. You may forego introductions. Thank you for answering our call for assistance. As for the situation at hand, it concerned a joint effort between the Forum and the Lolliprince to find new purpose for the moon. While there is no longer need for a vessel to evacuate this star, I believe the moon may yet prove of use to the people of Aetheris. After much contemplation, a rather ingenious proposal was put forward to transform the moon into a repository for man's knowledge, an archive of hitherto unseen scale. Charlian has long had the honor of boasting incomparable repositories of the world's knowledge, but it's far from perfect. Should calamity befall us, natural or otherwise, the wisdom of ages we have long labored to preserve will be lost. But the moon is beyond any such risk. What's more, is beyond the jurisdiction of any one nation. Thus did we consult with the allied nations of Eorzea, Far East, and Razat Han. They agreed to assembling a survey team to take measure of the moon and its potential as a repository. Our plans for assessment were forestalled, however, by the presence of an entity we believe to be a blasphemy in the Tower of Babel. Claims of Garlean citizens transforming into monsters shortly after its discovery only gave further credence to our initial supposition. We've not only ill tidings to share. Reinforcements have been dispatched to aid us in quelling the blasphemy threat. Lord Atriel and a member of Gridania's Keepers of the Entwined Serpents have already begun an investigation into the catalyst of these transformations. Though the skies no longer burn, the spread of this affliction is much curtailed. We must remain vigilant. Until the blasphemy threat has been quelled, Alphino and Alice have graciously offered to keep calm the people of Tertium, while we attend to the people here. The matter of the blasphemy is not easily resolved, I'm afraid. We recently met with certain complications that have hindered our plans. Ugiri and Fordola are presently deliberating how best to resolve the situation. Perhaps it would be best if you heard the details directly from them. I should like to join you, if I may, as this endeavor was originally undertaken on Charlian's behalf. I feel it is my responsibility to see this through to its conclusion. Did not expect to see you here of all places, but I am no less glad for your presence. I presume word of the blasphemy is what brought you here, in which case I believe it may be best that a member of the reconnaissance team's guard explain the situation. An acquaintance of yours. Long time no see, Lawrence. I've heard tell you were the worldly sort. But bugger me if I know where you heard my name before. Just a lowly sword for hire. Hoping to fatten my purse with a touch of mercenary work. I've taken my leave from Limsa. Job sounded simple enough, but well, sure ye wouldn't be here if it were, eh? But you didn't come all this way to hear about me, did you? Blasphemy we're after is making its nest in the upper reaches of the Tower of Babel. The auxiliary sector, I believe it was. But it wasn't alone. A sizable horde of beasts circling around like knights protecting their queen. Naturally, we thought to strike from a distance before engaging in earnest. Not a single bullet reached its mark. They were protected by some sort of mystical shroud, as far as I could figure. Without a keen eye for magic, I don't see anyone getting through. By the time we understood the futility of the situation, we were spotted. Retreat our only option. Pains me to say it, there won't be any brute forcing our way through this. My understanding was that, once transformed, these blasphemies are completely devoid of ether. With what energies could it create such a barrier? It's a question, isn't it? The first thought was some heretofore known technique, conjuring shields. Needless to say, I'm out of my depth when it comes to matters of magic. Which is precisely why I plan to speak with the Elder Seeds here, when she arrives. If anyone can help us find a way to overcome the blasphemy's protection, it's her. In the meantime, we trouble you to help with the not-so-small matter of people changing into beasts. Blasphemy's horde was large enough when we first found it. Can't afford more to join its ranks. Very well. We shall reconvene with Lord Artriel to discuss strategy. Before you go, something else you should know about the tower. From the moment we set foot inside, where there was someone, something, watching us. I shrugged it off, thinking it was a figment of my imagination. But in hindsight, I'm not so sure. Nothing to worry ourselves about now. Just keep on your guard when we do finally return to the tower, eh? Castle, it is good to have you with us, my friend. Indeed, the road before us is not an easy one, and a man of your talents will prove invaluable to our efforts. We but recently returned from reconnaissance, wherein we made a few rather surprising discoveries. First and foremost, we were pleased to discover that no one residing within Camp Broken Glass, or Tertium, have turned. No doubt thanks to the concerted efforts of Maxima, Alphino, and Alice. However, we have reason to believe that those who did turn all hail from Locus Ominous. You mean Corvus, Garlean's ancestral home? Very same. The ill effects of the final days began to manifest there. A number of Garlean refugees from the region sought sanctuary in Garlemald. The capital was already in ruins when they arrived. They were offered asylum. Many refused and instead chose to fend for themselves on the outskirts of the city. We have a mind to go and speak with them directly. If you'd care to join us? Perhaps together we can learn what are their recent circumstances that triggered such terrible change among their people. That's 1 of 4 down. Time being of the essence, I believe it prudent we split into 2 groups. Cover as much ground as we may, quickly as possible. You and Master Fortuno will inquire after the people at Victor's spoils. 2 of us shall see what we may learn at Liminal Station 4. When you have finished, pray meet us there. Your spoils is to the east of here, yes? Let us be off. That they should choose to reside here in the cold, and presume it will not be amenable to conversation. Even so, we must not be deterred. Come. Talk, What is there to talk about? No home, no future, nothing. This doom spells the end for us all. Come to hear our grievances, have you? Well, we've more than you have to time to hear them, sure. We've lost not one, but 2 homes. Our loved ones, our livelihood, there's nothing left. Served my time with the military eye. For what? Lose all my friends. Son. There was naught to show for it but our claims to Locus Aminus. So we thought. Calamity was visited upon us for reasons we would not know. When we thought to flee, it followed on our heels to Garlemald. Ruin and ash at every turn. Can't imagine why you or anyone else would feign interest in our troubles. You insist. Find a great many of people here were in the military at one time or another, some retiring with honors and others without. Sadly, I'm one of the latter, or one too many scars in battle. Even so, my contributions were enough to warrant leave, move to Locus Aminus. It was a land of warmth and bounty. The Corvosi rebellion, admittedly, proved troublesome for a time, but it didn't take long for the Second Legion to quell their uprising. We practically drowned in the calm and quiet. And then one day the skies came alive with flame. We were overrun by all manner of foul beasts, born of our brothers and sisters. The Second Legion barely had time to assemble their forces, before they were overrun, snuffed out. Barely escaped with our lives. We were greeted only with more wrack and ruin on our arrival here. We've not the strength to take our home back from Corvosi a second time. There's nothing left for us anywhere. Did you learn aught of how they came to be in such dire straits? I see. I've heard much of the same. The military forces of Locus Aminus were defeated in the wake of the final days. Desperate to survive, they naturally fled to Garlemald seeking sanctuary. Was there a hope? The might of the Empire would allow them to reclaim the home they were forced to abandon. The capital was already in ruin once they arrived. Needless to say, the lands they had long believed to be their ancestral home, the Garlean people may remain forever lost to them. Those unfamiliar with history would believe they have always resided in the bitter cold climes of northern Ilsland. But that was only after Corvosi invaded 800 years prior. And with the advent of Magitech, I imagine it was all too easy for Emperor Solus to rally his people and take back what they believed to be rightfully theirs. Yet history would tell us true. The land they call Locus Aminus has been known by other names and served as home to myriad peoples. Indeed, one need only look back to the Allagan's reign of the Third Astral Era to give the lie to Garlean claims of sovereignty. Even had they such ancestral ties to Locus Aminus, antecedents cannot justify their animosity to foreign peoples. Animosity poorly veiled by delusions of justice has been the case for so many nations throughout history. Would that man have the sense and strength of will to break free from such chains of hatred. Help! Someone help! They've turned! Another monster! Quickly, Castle. We haven't a moment to lose. One of my mates seemed unwell, so I thought come over and look in on him. Next thing I knew, no one appears to be injured. Did he not attack? He just walked off in the direction of the tower, in a daze, as if it was calling to him. Could not have gone far. You would go after him, or remain here and see that all are accounted for. Oh yeah, he definitely turned. Beast is slain, then. Thank the heavens. For a blessing no others have turned, and a measure of calm has been restored, if only for a moment. Witnesses were able to offer a clue as to the source of the transformation. They claimed the afflicted was listening to this radio. Even now it continues to play the same cryptic message. Empire, no more. Never again. Rise, ashes. Though distorted by radio static, you can hear a voice saying, "The Empire is no more. Never again shall it rise from the ashes." How is this possible? There are no facilities left standing that could possibly deliver a broadcast. Last time this happened, the signal came from the Tower of Babel. Be that as it may, Anima is no more, and the Tower of Babel has fallen into disrepair. By your hand, no less. Which begs the question, who, or perhaps what, would be behind this? Cousin, Master Fortune, a moment if you would. Shortly after we finished our inquiry at Liminal Station 4, Lord Amaric and Admiral Mirrorweb arrived and requested an audience. Apologies for our late arrival. Knowing firsthand the devastation which blasphemies are capable, we discussed the matter with the Admiral, and we are of one mind that the situation warranted our immediate presence. It's safe to assume, I presume a representative of the survey team has already arrived? Indeed I have. Thank you for coming all this way on such short notice. Recent events here at the camp have proved most enlightening. This is the aforementioned radio. Empire, no more. Never again. Rise. Ashes. Harsh reminder of their misfortune. Sufficient to push some wayward few over the edge, it would seem. But there still remains the question of who is sending this message, and from where. Glory, everlasting, Garlemald. Glory everlasting. For Garlemald. No, it couldn't be. You recognize this message? A mantra often spoken by Lord Nerva. Anyone who lived in the provinces under his authority scarcely forget those words. He sought to claim the throne after the assassination of Emperor Varus, did he not? After civil war broke out, he all but disappeared, according to intelligence we managed to gather. How could he have managed to breach the tower undetected? To have done so and remain unnoticed by the creatures infesting the tower seemed a nigh impossible task, unless... Nerva is the blasphemy. I do. And as it was with Anima, these radios are somewhat attuned to whatever signal it emits from the tower. What's more, I believe the true identity of the blasphemy is Nerva. Robbed of the throne and forced to watch the empire he longed to command crumble before his very eyes. Such loss did not drive him to the same fate of Quintus. The despair he felt no doubt overcame and turned him. Nerva's delusions of grandeur aside, Garleand's plight sound not unlike the Sahagan, desperate to preserve their spawning grounds. Indeed, though unscrupulous by any measure, the Garleans found solidarity in their ideology, as did the people of Ishgard in the church. Drift without home or purpose, it was all too easy for despair to take hold. Would that a remedy were as simple as offering them land as we did the Sahagan? In all likelihood, the Garleans would refuse to settle for aught less than what they believed to be their ancestral homeland of Locus Aminus, claim the Corvosi would readily take arms to denounce. We'd do well not to further fan the flames of animosity twixt them. Perhaps, at the very least, we can offer them peace of mind, and a means to regain some semblance of stability in their lives. To offer them true comfort and stability, Garlemald must be rebuilt. By no means an easy solution, but perhaps the only one worthy of pursuit. Of course, this new Garlemald must remain a sovereign nation, free from oversight of others. They would see no meaning in it otherwise. If I'm not mistaken, Alpha no one else, they have already made strides in helping the people regain some normalcy in their day-to-day living. The most important first step. But it will mean little without proper leadership. Rather than a single individual, perhaps a governing body of sorts would prove more effective. There are a number of former Senate members among the refugees at Camp Broken Glass, as I recall. With their help, creating the framework for a new governance is not an impossibility. Let us call the people together and see what they make of our proposal. Final days have taken much from you all. Can't but imagine the pain you feel in the face of such immeasurable loss. Though the final days have been averted, the effects yet linger, and a blasphemy is yet born of your suffering. Decisive action must be taken before further harm is wrought upon you. To overcome such adversity is too great a task for any one person, but as a people united, there may yet be hope for the morrow. While it is not our place to decide how you will move forward, we would offer a small measure of guidance. We are told a number of former members of your Senate yet remain among you. Would you be amenable to an interim government, led by these individuals, till such time as Garlemald can be rebuilt? Rebuild Garlemald? Such a thing truly possible? Even if we do cobble together some governing council, they won't be making anything of that pile of ash we dare call Garlemald. No going back to Locus Aminus either. Wreck and ruin. There are only options. You realize to rebuild Garlemald is a seemingly impossible task, but you needn't undertake it alone. My children are working with members of the First Legion as we speak, begin an organized relief effort. And there are others from the provinces, no doubt willing to lend their expertise. You need but ask. not as would-be conquerors, but as brothers and sisters of this star, and others will heed your call. You should still see no merit in rebuilding of Garlemald, then I would instead offer you residency in Charlie. I promise you will be welcomed with open arms. Charlie. So now you expect us to go lick boots in some country we've never even heard of? My apologies. I appeared overly forward in my proposition. Considering our strict policies on non-intervention, until but recently, it is not surprising that you are unfamiliar with my homeland. It is an island nation to the north, home of myriad peoples, which is why I believe it would not prove difficult to accommodate you and yours. To be clear, you would not be migrating to Charlian to live in servitude. You have my word that each and every one of you would be guaranteed citizenship upon entry. Why, exactly, would you go to such lengths for us? For the conquerors you barely know? Charlian was long aware of the coming doom that would be the final days, so we were preparing to evacuate the star, taking as many people and resources as our stores would allow. Initially, it was our intent to save the people of Garlemald as well. But we had not forgotten your transgressions invading Alamigo, your rejection of our entreaties for peace. After a great deal of deliberation, it was decided that we would forego an invitation to Garlemald. A determination made with great trepidation. We had convinced ourselves it was ultimately for the greater good, though I can think of at least one individual who would continue to protest. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. Sage counsel I brazenly cast aside when confronted with the final days in earnest. The castle here and his companions refused to forsake those we were otherwise unwilling to save. With great risk to themselves, they achieved the impossible and opened my eyes to the error of the Forum's decision. All other roads lead to ruin regardless. Perhaps we should at least consider it. Then, it would be my pleasure to invite you all to Camp Broken, where you shall have warm food and beds both. Admiral Merlewib and I shall speak with Maxpa and the others, and consider how best to assist the Garleans moving forward. Should we broach the subject of the blasphemy, however, we will not hesitate to call upon you. Hi, Nero. Alright, this is quest 3. The Guardian's heart's at ease. The likelihood of others turning is greatly diminished. That said, it is no cause for us to grow complacent. We must needs further find a way to overcome the blasphemy's protective warding. If I understand correctly, blasphemy's behavior is oftentimes influenced by the memories and emotions of its originator. which case it would be prudent to learn more of the man who birthed this monstrosity. Fortuitous, then, that a number of soldiers from the 3rd Legion are in our custody. For a mercy, their tempering was not so severe as to be beyond our ability to heal them. They are presently being treated at Camp Broken Bones. Perhaps the camp's intelligence officer can tell us who among them knows aught of Nerva's whereabouts. See, perhaps it's best if you speak with Virgilia, the Gatus of the 3rd Legion. She's still on the mend, but the Kyurgens aren't like to oppose a brief conversation. You would wait here a moment. Eorzeus champion, I presume, in one of his cohorts. What business have you with me? Ilzabard is faced with an imminent crisis. We believe the knowledge you bear may be key in stopping it. Thus do we believe the blasphemy to be Nerva. Its whereabouts in the wake of Garlemald's fall, or lack thereof, give credence to our theory. Lord Nerva. From what we have pieced together thus far, we were one of the last to see him alive. Please, will you not share with us what you know? Very well, though I suspect what meager knowledge I possess shall avail you not. I last spoke with Lord Nerva shortly after the warring that the 1st Legion began. Cloistered within the lower levels of the Cenacrum Imperialis, he spent the better part of the day listening attentively to the radio. He seemed hopeful, or perhaps desperate, for news that the tide might turn in our favor. The next day I left for the front line. It was there I heard a terrible noise, which I assume came from the Tower of Babel. Darkness took me, and I remember naught after that. I was told the radios protected those close to them from the effects of the tower, in which case Lord Nerva would have remained unaffected. But he has ever been devoted to Garlemald, for glory everlasting, he would say. To watch the empire he loved so dearly crumble, I can think of no one who would be more stricken by the sight. It would seem we were right to assume what became of Nerva. And it does not surprise me that the beast would choose to make its nest within the Tower of Babel. It stands atop the remains of the Imperial Palace, and the throne he revered so highly. But the Empire is no more, and Lord Nerva, apparently, is no longer the man he once was. He deserves to be laid to rest, together with his dreams of glory. We will fell the beast, you have my word. Apologies for the interruption. Kane Senna has arrived, and we're ready to depart. It is good to see you, Caslo, Master Fortunato. I have spoken with Lawrence, of the ward protecting the blasphemy, and I am quite confident some manner of aether-based magic bars our path. I may be so bold, Elder Seedseer. We reached the same conclusion initially. That is simply not possible. These creatures born of the final days are devoid of ether. As such, they would be unable to produce such a barrier in a manner to which we are accustomed. You suppose it is possible they manipulated dynamos to achieve a similar effect? Too thought to dismiss the notion of a barrier fueled by ether. That is until I step foot here in Garlemald. Even now I can sense streams of ether flowing towards the tower. The purpose was, after all, to harvest the resources of energy sufficient to reach the moon. Even if one was incapable of manipulating ether directly, stands to reason control of the tower would alleviate such a need. It is merely conjecture, of course. I cannot say for certain until I have examined the currents with my own eyes. Might I ask you to accompany us? I would join you as well, if I may. My injuries would keep me from being of use in battle, but my knowledge of the land should serve just as well as my blade. I would not be opposed to your company, but it is not my decision to make. She may go, so long as she remains under the watch of you and the others. Very good. Might I suggest we begin with Regio Urbanissima? I sense the greatest confluence of ether in that vicinity. As I thought, the aether stream here flows towards the town, as do all others in the region, no doubt. This convergence first began when the Telophoroi erected spires in all corners of Eorzea, fueled the Tower of Babel. Once destroyed, this divergence of ether should have ceased. All right, whoever you are, if you business with us, quit your skulking about in the shadows and speak your piece. Was you there in the tower, wasn't it? My, you're sharper than you look. I recognize you. Nero, yes? Why are you following us? Who said I'm following you? Being a native of Garlemald, does it not stand to reason I might be inclined to come and see what has become of my home? I know not what you're scheming, but we've no time to entertain your games. Perhaps Master Garland would make better company for you. Spare me. I'm a man of great ambition and greater intellect, far beyond the scope of anything Garland could hope to achieve. He still keeps his head in the clouds, while I would set my sights to the stars beyond. Just why you snuck into the town. Like us, you couldn't get past the blasphemy to reach the transport. Yes, well, I was very much hoping you would dispense with that little obstacle. Having caught wind of your plans, curiosity compelled me to see if you were truly up to the task. Do you have any reason to believe we are not? Or perhaps, does the great genius Nero mean to dispense with the blasphemy himself? Far be it from me to steal the glory having come all this way. But as I am feeling generous, I will tell you what I learned during my time in the Tower of Babel. I was able to access its systems, you see. Discovered one of those dreadful spires still appears to be active. Impossible. They all vanished when Anima was destroyed. Yes, I've heard of your escapades reclaiming the remains of the Emperor, but obviously you failed to reclaim his entire body. As it stands, a piece remains towering a tower at Fabrica. Oh yes, the manufacturing district, just north of the erstwhile Imperial Palace. Rather impressive feat, considering how these lands are so utterly devoid of ether. Barely enough to sustain life, let alone the spire. But if one were to use Varys' remains to forcefully create a confluence of sorts... Precisely. From what I gleaned of the tower's systems, heart serves as its core. Coursing not with blood, but your precious ether. Now Nerva has amassed a surfeit, shore up his defenses. How fortuitous he should find so perfect an impetus for a design, stolen for better minds than his own. How very like it. Huh. Did I say that aloud? You'll forgive me if I fail to show concern for your ire. What you say is true. These lands could never hope to recover from such a paucity of life energies. You must hurry and find Varys' heart. You will spare the land this wanton harvesting, and to deny the blasphemy the source of its protection. Are we to presume you have any intention of aiding us? As I said, I have no intention of stealing your glory, though I fear victory may soon slip through your fingers if you do not act quickly. The Tower of Babel was designed specifically for Anima to serve as its core. Nerva forcing himself upon the system caused it to grow increasingly unstable. My calculations are correct. And they always are. It will not be long before his presence triggers a system-wide meltdown. Resulting explosion will destroy what continuous streams of ether breathe life into the lands of Garlemald. But more importantly, we will lose our only means of reaching the moon. Heavens forever denied my genius. Also very fortunate. In any event, it would seem time is of the essence. It's all well and good, but even if we know which direction to search, finding the heart will be like looking for a needle in a bloody haystack. Actually, I may know where we can start. It's all rather hazy. I still have vague recollections of my time serving Anima when I was enthralled. We were commanded to erect some manner of facility tucked away in the corner of Fabrica. I remember not what it was for, but it's as good a place as any to begin our search. It certainly sounds promising, but surely this facility will be heavily guarded. Maybe it'd be best for us to divide our forces. It's just the four of us, Shouldn't prove too difficult to sneak inside and find the heart. Meanwhile, our main force can stand ready to storm the tower about when the barrier gives out. Leave it to us. This is Levia. What? Very well. We shall return at once. A number of Garleans have left camp for the Tower of Babel. They have somehow misunderstood the threat of the tower, convinced themselves that Nerva has taken refuge there. Still clinging to their ill-placed patriotism, no doubt. Could not have gone far. If we act quickly, perhaps they can be found before they come to harm. A wise man would not waste his time on a few wayward refugees. Thought you Charlian scholars knew better. To ignore the plight of those who one might conceivably save is not wisdom, sir. If it is all the same to you, Caslo, I would join you. I will return to camp and begin preparations for our assault on the town. I suppose I should go as well. Freaking Nero. Though I am unarmed, I promise not to be a burden. Said, it would behoove us to avoid any undue confrontations. Possible. Now, let us be off. Help! Someone please! You hear that? It came from over there. You're the ones that came to speak with us before. We heard Lord Nerva had returned. He was assembling his forces in the tower, but... No, not Lord Nerva, too. Can't talk. Then there really is nothing left for us. I'll not deny your situation is dire, but you are not without a path forward. I believe you've the passion and conviction needed to rebuild Garlemald. You so choose. Or, failing that, begin life anew in Charlian. Rebuild Garlemald? No, there is no point in entertaining so lofty a dream. And we would sooner die than suffer life under the rule of another. We would sooner seek death than sanctuary. The resolve is admirable, sorely misplaced. You would not see Garlemald rise from the snow and ashes in Ilsabad. Might you consider venturing onto a new frontier? New frontier? Where exactly is this land ripe for exploration? There. On the moon. It is our goal to create a repository of man's knowledge there, free from the jurisdiction of any nation. As I understand, the magic tech and technological advances of Garlemald were without peer. Your expertise would be indispensable in the endeavor. Should you be willing, of course. You really expect us to go and live on the bloody moon? Such a thing even possible? Have you a better alternative? Lest you forget, Garlemald did not rise to grandeur from complacency in the present or rumination in the past. We live for the future. It's in our blood. Life is not without its hardships, of course. Even I have met with the occasional stumbling block. But even should I stumble, my eyes are forever fixed skyward. seeking ever greater heights. The Empire may be lost, but I still possess a great deal of knowledge gained from it, and desire to seek more. The very notion of exploring the moon is an unprecedented prospect, and that you would balk at the proposition boggles the mind. Consider this. You have heard that beasts of the final days were born of those hapless souls that have given up on everything, yes? If that is indeed the case, can you tell me why you still stand before me? Because deep down you believe your life is yet worth living. Deep down you long to reach for the unreachable. Or perhaps you don't. You should choose to lay down and die here in the snow. It's none of my concern. Reach for the unreachable. Sounds like something I would have said back at the academy. Alright, we'll go. Suppose it's better than dying here in the snow, as you so grimly put it. We must first dispense with the blasphemy that commands the tower. It's hard to believe Lord Nerva, of all people, could be turned into one of those monsters. Please, you must stop it. Put his soul to rest. Thank you. I'm sorry for causing all this trouble. Thank you for the rousing call to action, but I thought you had no interest in meddling in our affairs. Lest you misunderstand, I abhor the idea of my countrymen blindly following nobles they know next to nothing about. Besides, it would be most hideous sight for not a single Garlean to be among those venturing to the moon. Who else am I to prevail upon to learn of new findings up there? It's 3 quests, so this is quest number 4. From what Nira has told us, time is now a luxury we can ill afford. Let us return to Camp Broken Glass, only for the moment. The others are no doubt finishing their preparations for battle. Should hope the others' absence means all proceeds apace. Good, you're here. With the recent arrival of reinforcements, our preparations are all but complete. Apologize for our lateness. Seems we were released in time to help deliver the crushing blow. Aye, and if fates are kind, this will be the last we see of these damnable blasphemies. Commander Aldine, Lord Hien, thank you both for coming. Yes, of course. Understood. Lawrence and the others have reclaimed Varys' heart. The barrier protecting the blasphemy should soon dissipate. The time has come, last to storm the Tower of Babel. Admiral Melwyn and Lord Amaric await our arrival at its base. And should we be about it then? I suppose this is as good an opportunity as any to keep my hammer from rusting over. I will accompany you as well. The forum's representative and member of the survey team, feel it my responsibility to see this through to the end. Didn't take you for the fighting type. Despite appearances, I am no stranger to the battlefield. Indeed, I have seen my fair share, traveling the world in service to the Forum. Though I may not be equal of Alpha nor Allison, we shall not find ourselves wanting. I promise you that much. When you've all finished your preparations, we shall reconvene at the Palladium. Time to finish this. Also very interesting that they used Nerva. That makes a lot of sense. Because it's somebody we've all kind of been wondering about. All are present and accounted for. Shall we proceed? Proceed! He's fully Power Rangered up. Our objective is simple. Locate and eliminate the blasphemy, Nerva. Though the barrier guarding him is no more, a number of beasts will surely block the way at the auxiliary sector. But off to a smashing start, I see. It would seem the tower will reach its limits sooner than I anticipated. We're to save the transporter. Let's hurry and find Nerva, now. Go without saying, stay on your guard. It's quite the menagerie of horrors than when I was last here.
The path has been revealed!
The winds favor us!
Down with you!
So hard to target with this many people. Also, I'm missing all this dialogue. Push her, no. Trying to get me killed.
Tizona! Enough!
Definitely getting around to getting all them. Be able to finish it with this. Not the last of them. Of course not. We can't afford for that. We can't afford for them to impede our advance any further. Commander Aldine, let us hold them here. Mr. Fortunate, take the others and go, quickly. Understood. Nerva ye Galvis. It's the Chthonic riddle. Leave. Leave now. Garlemald is mine. Mine! Well, that's quite the rescue. I followed Nero there. That's cool. Come on. There we go. Glory everlasting indeed. Is it over? Has the danger passed? A hair's breadth, perhaps, but yes. Let's say we've managed to avoid a fiery room. The path to the moon is open once more. The duty of Charlian has ever been to chart the course of history, not to change it. Thus did we fervently hold on to our policies of neutrality and non-intervention. Truth was all in service to our plans of exodus, to abandon the star to its ruinous fate. Harsh though it may sound, I still believe it was ultimately for the greater good. Thanks to you and your comrades, however, it was a fate that did not come to pass. Charlian will now find a new way forward, not merely for the preservation of knowledge, for the betterment of this star and all who call it home. I believe I speak for all of the Forum when I say it would be an honor and a privilege to work towards such a goal alongside the allied nations. Hi, an age of true and everlasting peace is finally within our grasp. We will seize it together. The relief to know we've no longer a need for battle. Despite my experience, I must confess I am ill-suited to it. The allied nations' leaders, meanwhile, demonstrated an aptitude for combat far and above what I might expect from diplomatic figures. And you, my friend? See now why you are so well regarded as Eorzea's champion. The others have already begun their arduous journey home. But before you go, I would offer a word of thanks to both of you. Not for your timely assistance, plans would be forfeit, and the lands of Ilzabeth forever defiled by the blasphemy. Please, I have no need for your platitudes. I labor only to further my own ends, nothing more. We heard the news. Thank you for everything. Lord Nerva laid to rest, with the peace of mind to move on without regret. Ah, there you are. Now what's this I've heard about you cleaning out the Tower of Babel? Are we finally ready to return to the moon? What fortuitous time. Allow me to introduce you to Livingway of the Lawbirds, Moon Dweller and Overseer of the Survey Team. Livingway, these good people will be the Moon's first residents. Trust you and the other Lawbirds will take good care of them. Pleased to meet you? Residents? Oh no. Oh yes, splendid. After many long years of planning and preparation, the moon is absolutely, most definitely, ready to accommodate your say. Glad to hear it. And apologies for the delay. I must further confer with Lawrence and see to our final preparations. But your residents-to-be and the survey team shall be along ere long. Might I trouble you to relay word of our success to Shirabat and Razathan? I should think the tidings all the more heartening, coming from you. Till next we meet. Wait, you're not leaving for the moon without me? Alright, well, back to Razatan. So it's true then. The blasphemy in Garlemald has been struck down. They're right to call on you, it seems. With no other outstanding reports of blasphemy sightings, I dare say you've slain the last of them. Perhaps now we can finally start to put the final days behind us. Strange though as that may sound. On behalf of my fellow delegates and the Radiant Host, I extend to you our humblest thanks. I hope when next I call him, we under more fortuitous circumstances. Grab that crit. Well, there you have it. there were some great like visuals and stuff during the role quest, but overall the story, like I said, didn't really get me. Um, so that's a little disappointing. But at least everything else with 6.1 was great. The PvP, the story, the Alliance raid. I should have a lot of that stuff up on the channel right now, so be sure to check it out. And I'll be doing some new videos coming up shortly that are a little bit more focused now that I've gotten through all of my highlight stuff. So be sure to click that subscribe button. You'll get to see those as soon as they go out. As well as in the description below, there are links to my Twitch channel where you give me a follow and know anytime I go live, as well as links to my social media and a link to my Discord channel if you want to be part of the daily community. With that said, we'll see y'all next time. Take care.